Amen. Good morning, folks. Great to see you out this morning. And we trust the Lord to give us a beautiful service to honor and glorify His holy and His precious name. And for those that may be viewing online, just to remind you that the outline, I'm not sending out the sermon outline anymore because it's online. If you're not on the full screen, you can see it right under the video. It'll be there for you for those that are taking notes. Otherwise, it's here at the church, a copy that you can pick up on the back table. All right, let's go to the Lord and ask for His great blessing today. Gracious Father, we're so humbled and happy to be here to gather with this great crowd this morning. We're going to be able to sing. We've got a couple specials. We have the preaching of your word. We have the fellowship. We had an opportunity, Lord, to participate in an offering to you. We're anticipating and excited about a great day of worship. We know there's a lot going on, not only in our world, but in the world at large. It seems to be what the Scriptures talk about, Lord, about the coming desolations upon the world, the beginning of sorrows. Bible talks about these days, Lord, as days of pestilence. We're surely in the midst of that. There are earthquakes. There are things happening around the world, Lord, that hopefully are causing men to consider eternity. These are days, Lord, when, though these are the beginning of sorrows, we Christians know that we have an end of joy and blessedness because of the Lord Jesus Christ and His work upon the cross for us. And it's our great prayer today, Lord, that we would be outfitted as we can be with our salvation and the armor you provide, Lord, to take on this world and take it on in such a way that we would magnify the name of our Savior. It's also our prayer, Lord, that if anyone who is watching or attending here this morning is not sure of their eternal destination, Lord, they need to get saved. You know that they need to get saved. You know exactly when you're going to call them home. And so we pray that with great urgency, Lord, they consider the Word of God and the Spirit knocking at their heart's door. They would humbly respond and be gloriously saved today. Honor yourself. May the Holy Spirit take control of these moments. Use your precious Word in our lives to mold us and to make us after Thy will. And we'll thank you for this in Jesus' name. Amen. Take your Bibles, if you would, please, and turn to 1 Chronicles chapter 11. 1 Chronicles chapter 11. It's interesting, this week I got a call from India. a family that used to visit our church, actually weren't officially members, but they came for a couple years. And he called to say hello and just saying that they're watching online from India. And kind of exciting to think about people around the world that our church can impact, hopefully for the gospel's sake, and to provide a warning, an alert to our world for the coming of our Lord. But this morning I want to complete a sermon I started last week on being tough. And the reason I chose this message, or I looked for a message about this, was because last Sunday we had our annual church business meeting. And I've surely learned through the years, been saved long enough, as you know, it takes toughness to not only to survive, but to do everything that God wants us to do in this world. And so I want to finish that this morning. And I introduced a sermon last week by sharing with you different slogans of companies. And I ended with Ford Motor Company and their slogan of Built Ford Tough. Okay, a slogan they've had for many, many years. And I Googled again this week this idea of toughness. And I came up with a company called Tough Built Industries, started in 2013. And they advertise on their website that they build tough things, okay? They build sawhorses, tool pouches, knee pads, all for the construction business. And I thought, you know what? That's exactly what we're in. We're in, as Christians, we're in a construction business. We're trying to construct a church. We're using the blueprints that the Lord Jesus Christ has given in His will, His work, His worship, His word, all of that. And we're not to come up with a blueprint. He's already given that. But we need toughness in each of our lives to follow that out, to build His church. Not us, it's Him. That's what Jesus said in Matthew 16. I will build my church. So our plan is to follow the Lord's plan. And the Lord knows exactly what He's doing. He knows how to build something tough to be able to withstand all the enemies that will come against it. To us, it's not a slogan, but a sacred truth that we treasure in our hearts, that causes us to get up every day and to know that we have no idea what this day holds. But God has chosen to give me the breath that I might go out and live my life, play the part I'm supposed to play in His will for His glory. We saw from Romans 8:37, Paul said, nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors through Him. So we can conquer anything. We're more than conquerors through anything this world may throw at our church, any church, or against ourselves. In 1 Corinthians 15:57, but thanks be to God which giveth us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. We're on the winning side, as they say. Okay? We can have victory in this life. Revelation 12:11, John wrote, and they overcame Him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives until the death. And in this life, we can be overcomers. And we're going to see a lot of stuff thrown at us the longer that we live. But the reason we can be conquerors and victorious and overcomers is because we're built God tough. We looked last week at the first creation that I wanted to examine. Again, not in any particular order. Just looking at two, we examined the church, and God built it tough to be His church so it would withstand, all the pressures, anything the world can throw at it, anything the old nature which Christians have, even though they get saved and they're in the church. There's still an old nature in us that we must suppress. It's constantly wanting to rear its ugly head. It constantly wants to come against anything that's God's. But we can overcome that, and we can overcome Satan. Even Jesus said, the gates of hell shall not prevail against that. But this morning I want to conclude this sermon by looking at the second creation that I've chose to preach on, and that's man. 1 Chronicles 11, beginning just a couple verses as we start. Chapter 11, beginning with verse 10. These also are the chief of the mighty men whom David had, who strengthened themselves with him in his kingdom. Why did God put mighty men around David? Because God knew the enemies that would come against David. They probably had an idea that this was a man chosen of God for a great work, both for now and into the future. And with all Israel, to make him king, according to the word of the Lord concerning Israel. And this is the number of the mighty men whom David had. And there's a laundry list of these men that we really know very little about. But God gave us just a little bit to know about one of them. And for the sake of time, we're just going to look at one. We see that in verse 22. Benaiah. Now, the Hebrew here, Benai is to build, and Ah is Jehovah. So you put them together, Jehovah built, or God built. God has built. Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, the son of a valiant man of Kabzeel, who had done many acts. Okay? God built tough. The second creation, man. Let's see what a God-built tough man does, and let's apply that to our lives. First of all, he served when outnumbered. When outnumbered. Notice again verse 22. The first act here, he slew 2 lion-like men of Moab. I looked at this word lion-like, and in the Hebrew it says this, NFL lineman, or a linebacker. Now, really doesn't say that, but that's the idea. These are 2 huge, big, tough men. Lion-like. Fierce. Men of Moab. Remember what the Bible says about Moab? It calls Moab God's washpot. Okay? These are 2 big, fierce, unsaved men. And by himself, Benaiah is going to take on these mountain men of Moab and kill them. Now, we don't know why. We're not told by God why this battle is taking place. Was it self-defense? Was it retaliation? Was it justice? We don't know. But maybe Benaiah's bravery came from his dad. Notice there, he said the son of a valiant man of Jehoiada, the son of a valiant man of Kabzeel. Okay? Jehoiada means a man Jehovah knows. God knew his dad. It tells me his dad knew God. Okay? And I don't think just in a casual way. I think this man's a valiant man. He really knew God, and God really knew him. The word valiant has the idea of, it's literally a force. It speaks of valor, strength, a war-worthy warrior. Kabzeel, he's from Kabzeel. Just means backwaters. So he wasn't really from the big city, he was more from the back roads. Not the capital area, maybe kind of like a backwoodsman. The dad probably not well-to-do, but it had nothing to do with that. He knew God. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter your culture, your background. It doesn't matter how much education you have. It doesn't matter how much education you don't have. If you know God, that's what can make you. God can build you into a tough man, because that's what God does. Against all the odds, Benaiah slays them because he was God-built. It reminded me, and I'll read to you from Leviticus, God speaking here in Leviticus 26, beginning with verse 1. God says, "Ye shall make no idols nor graven image, neither rear you up a standing image, neither shall ye set up any image of stone in your land, to bow down unto it, for I am the Lord your God. Ye shall keep my Sabbaths and reverence my sanctuary." That's why I always want to make this a place, and I believe you do too. That's why you're here. The sanctuary is a special place to worship God, to get to know God. "And reverence my sanctuary, I am the Lord. If ye walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and do them." Then we drop down to verse 7. "And ye shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. And 5 of you shall chase 100. And 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight. And your enemies shall fall before you by the sword." Okay. This is what a God-built man can do with God behind them. With them living like they're supposed to live, they can take on, even though they're outnumbered in this world. I also found another passage. It was actually written by Moses in a song, what's called the Song of Moses. Deuteronomy 32, verse 30. "How should one chase 1,000, and 2 put 10,000 to flight, except their rock had sold them, and the Lord had shut them up? For their rock is not as our rock." We saw that last week. Jesus Christ will build the church upon Himself, the rock. Not sand, not a mixture, a solid rock. And God will build His man who's saved upon the rock of His salvation. Maybe in this life you're outnumbered. Maybe you look at things coming up against you. Maybe things get piled on. I'm hearing that more and more with people in our church. Okay? They're already struggling with this. They've got this, just living today. Okay? And going through just life. Okay? It can be marriage. It can be child rearing. You know, it can be even children as they get older. My wife and I used to think, these kids, I'll be glad when they get older, And they get older, there's more problems, okay? It seems like. At least we're not accountable for them. They're on their own now. But it gets tough. But then other things come along and get piled on. And then maybe a little bit later, something else is not removed, but something else gets piled on. And it begins to think, boy, I'm outnumbered. Life is almost against me. The odds become like, I don't know if I can be successful. I don't know if I can overcome these things. Just remember, we're Christians. We're God-built tough. There's nothing this world can throw at us that God hasn't prepared us to be able to handle. So first of all, we've seen He served when outnumbered. Secondly, this morning, He served when overwhelmed. Look at the rest of verse 22. The second mighty act. He slew 2 lion-like men of Moab. Also, He went down and slew a lion in a pit in a snowy day. This pit is like a cistern. And many of the cistern would have, or some of them would have, steps that would wind down. If you wanted to retrieve water, which is probably the case here with Benaiah, they needed water. And so he was going to have to travel down. And as he begins to travel down, either he sees looking back up at him, or maybe he hears there's a lion. Now, he's taking on lion-like men, but this is a real lion. And that's standing between He and what He needs to do. Just like in your life. There's going to be many things, sometimes it's people, sometimes it's problems or trials or tragedies and whatever may come across, they're going to stand between you and what God would have you to do. We have to remember, we're God-built tough. That's problem number one. Problem number two, it's a snowy day. Now, that's not unusual for parts of Palestine. But it's never a good day when you got a lion at the bottom who's preventing me from what I have to do, and it's also snowing. Cold, maybe slippery. I remember a former member of our church, Wayne Bell. And Wayne Bell, in his construction business, on his little business card, he had this little slogan. Okay? No problems. They said, there are no problems, only solutions. And that's how we have to look at it as a Christian. Not that we're demeaning and lessening problems, because they're really heavy. But when we have God and we understand if I'm doing the things I'm supposed to do, that I'm God-built tough, nothing can overcome me unless I allow it to, I'll find a solution. God will help me find a solution to this problem. Maybe you're overwhelmed with everything else that's going on. Maybe there's relationship issues. Maybe it's financial issues. Health. Life can be the pits with problems and predicaments. A self-made man, which our world is full of them. Self-made man eventually is going to be overwhelmed and overcome by these. How can a Christian continue just taking on these things? Because they're God-built tough. It reminded me of what Paul told the Corinthians. But we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of God and not of us. Remember, Corinthians, there's a power than you. It is excellent. Speaking of God Himself. The excellency of the power may be of God and not of us. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed. Always bearing about in the body the dying of the Lord Jesus, that the life also of Jesus might be made manifest in our body. We keep going. The world keeps throwing things at us. You're not going to get this. You're not going to get it when you want. And remember, our enemies, they're very powerful. I mean, just think of Satan alone. I was doing a little study in my devotions this week about Satan. Just think how Satan took on Job. Look at the power, the authority that God gave Satan over Job. He could kill his family. He could kill his family. He could cause health problems in him. He had these boils on him. He could take away all his prosperity, all his animals and housing, everything went away. And God allowed Satan to do that. Now, in the end, we know how it turns out. But Satan can do that. Revelation talks about the depths of Satan. To one of the churches, Jesus said, I know that Satan has thrown some of you into prison, but be faithful. He can do a lot. And he can do a lot and is probably trying to do a lot. He's trying to get you to think wrong, to act wrong, to have a wrong attitude and a wrong spirit. That's just his nature. He's evil. He's anti-God in everything he does. So therefore he's anti-you, Christian. But we can serve when overwhelmed. Finally, this morning, notice verse 23. He served when underarmed. He served when underarmed. So this is to be his third slaying. And he slew an Egyptian, a man of great stature, 5 cubits high, 8 feet. And in the Egyptian's hand was a basketball because he was 8 foot. Okay. And in the Egyptian's hand was a spear, like a weaver's beam. And he went down to him with a staff and plucked the spear out of the Egyptian's hand and slew him with his own spear. Whew. Most Jews, I found, were approximately 5'6". This is an 8-foot Egyptian. Spear is a massive beam versus probably Benaiah's staff that he had. He's underarmed. He's, in a sense, undersized. But he uses what he has. You know, I don't know if this is true. I'm not a big dog person. I didn't grow up with a dog. My wife grew up with dogs. Slept with dogs. Now she's sleeping. No. Okay. So she slept with these, okay, and loved them. And one dog when we met, Poco, okay, just sweet little dog. Really, really nice dog. He actually, my wife said this to me. If you look at him, he'll smile. I'll say, come on, honey. Sure enough, he'd get a little smile on his face. Okay? But these dogs, you know, we can run from battles. You know? People, I remember so many in our home church, and some of the ladies, they were going to a house, and one of the ladies with Debbie, another Debbie, they were just horrified and scared to death of dogs and the barking and everything. And these enemies can come at us and try to cause us to be of great fear. We're not to run from these battles, okay? We're not to give up or to give in. We're not to say to God, boy, God, if I had this, you know, I'd go out there and I'd take on this thing. Or, Lord, when this happens in my life, boy, then I'm going to do that. When we're underarmed, we need to just keep going for the Lord. Peter, silver and gold have I none, what I have. And he did a healing. I think of David taking on Goliath, the giant, another giant. Okay? All he had was 5 smooth stones. But he got the job done. Samson just had the jawbone of a donkey. He got the job done. I don't know what you and I are going to have, but whatever we have, though it may seem not to be enough to take on this enemy in my life or in the life of our church, we have to remember it's God-built. It's God-built. Tough. It reminded me of 2 Peter 1, verse 3. According as his divine power hath given unto us all things that pertain unto life and godliness, through the knowledge of him that hath called us to glory and virtue, whereby are given unto us exceeding great and precious promises, that by these ye might be partakers of the divine nature, having escaped the corruption that is in the world through lust. God has given us everything, all things we need to live a godly life. We don't need to say, well, God, when I get, or if this happens, then. No, right now, we've been given these precious promises, and they're great, exceeding great. To be able to go out and do what God would have us to do, either as a church or as an individual Christian. God-built tough man or woman or teenager can do many acts as Benaiah did, even when outnumbered, overwhelmed, or underarmed. But you got to be God-built. You have to be saved. The natural man can't do these things. He can't do these things on earth, and He surely won't do them in the afterlife, because you'll have no afterlife except in a living and burning eternal hell. To be a God-built man, you've got to first be a man born of God. You've got to have that spiritual birth that does not come by acts that we do, but comes because of the acts of the Lord Jesus Christ. Act of taking our sin, paying the penalty of our sin, and taking that with Him to the cross, dying, bearing, being risen by the power of God, and offering to us a free gift of eternal life. And even though it's offered, we have to receive it. Because there's many people that know about God, even know how to be saved. But you've got to receive this gift to be God-built. Let me close with a couple things. Joshua was going to take on some great enemies. Some enemies, as the spies went out, these are good men. You know, one taken out of each tribe. These are good men. I'm sure they didn't pick a slackard. They didn't pick a man that didn't believe in God or didn't care about God. They're choosing out of each tribe probably some very good men. And remember, they go out and they survey the land and they come back with a report. Remember, 10 of them come back with that report. We can't go over there. There's giants over there. There's these walled cities. We'd never be able to take on these people. God said this to Joshua, only be thou strong and very courageous. And I think when we take our problems to God, and we should take them, and we take all of our health and financial and relationship and issues and questions, and God's will matters on a lot of different things, when we take them to God, we must not cower from the enemies. I'm an overcomer. I can be victorious. And God, give me the strength to accept Thy will, to accomplish and do what I can do. Can't do what I can't do, but what would You have me to do? Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law, which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest. The book of this law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. Have not I commanded thee? Be strong and of a good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee whithersoever thou goest. Don't be dismayed. Don't listen to the reports of others that say it's just too hard. Set them aside. Find you a couple men or a couple families or a couple tribes and go in there and do the job. And I believe the Lord would say the same to us today. Because we're God-built. And in our day, that's what it's going to take on everything coming against the church. I get so many emails from people I subscribe to and newsletters that I get from pastors and churches and evangelists and stuff. It's amazing the attack that comes under churches today. You know, what they're up against. Doesn't matter. Should it surprise us? These are these last days that we're in. And we have a job to do for the Lord Jesus Christ. He's well equipped us in our personal lives as well as our church life. It reminded me of a story of a man who dreamed for years of going to the Caribbean and kind of taking a cruise and go to different ones of the islands, you know, seeing the beautiful shorelines in the water and stuff like that. He finally got enough money. He bought an expensive ticket, got on this cruise, and he was on it for four days out of the 5-day cruise. And on the 4th day, he ran into a friend. And his friend said to him, "Oh, isn't this unbelievable? This is great, isn't it? Man, give me the food." He said, "Man, I've been eating, lobster and steak and shrimp, and it's just been," he says, "I haven't been able to do that. You know, I used all my money to buy that ticket, and I just been eating, sausages and beans. I just trying to get by, trying to save some money. And the man said to him, didn't you know? When you bought that ticket, all the food came with it. We can be that way as Christians. We can get saved, and then we act like we're not saved. We can live meagerly when God wants us to live majestically and mightily for Him. When you get saved, a lot of things come with salvation. You get the mighty power of God right in you. Okay? And greater is He that's in you than he that's in the world. You get a new Heavenly Father. You get a new Father, a Heavenly Father. You get an indwelling God, the Holy Spirit. You get all the great and precious promises of God. You get Christian friends. You get a church. You get all this that God gives you that comes along with your salvation. The writer of Hebrews put it this way. But beloved, Hebrews 6:9, but beloved, we are persuaded better things of you and things that accompany salvation. We expect better things from you because there's some things that come along with being saved. He goes on to say, 2 verses later, that you be not slothful, but followers of them who through faith and patience inherit the promises. Those heroes of faith, you follow them patiently. Don't be a sluggard or slothful, because you've got the things that accompany salvation. The psalmist put it this way, Psalm 103:2. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all His benefits. Sometimes people will take a job because of the benefits. It may not pay the best, but because of maybe insurance benefits or retirement or something like that, they'll take that job. Listen, when we get saved, what comes along? All the benefits of God. Paul put it this way in Ephesians 6:10, a very familiar passage. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of His might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness at high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand, watch and do all stand. We can stand up against whatever is thrown against the church. Whatever is thrown against us as Christians, it doesn't matter, because we're God-built tough. To the Corinthians, Paul writes in 1 Corinthians 16:13, watch ye, stand fast in the faith, quit you like men, be strong. Be strong in the Lord. We're going to sing that a little bit later as a congregation. It's going to be our invitation to Him. Be strong in the Lord. Yeah, the enemies are strong and they're tough, but God has built us to be able to withstand all that comes our way. I was reading about a story about a man dying and going to heaven. And he dies and he gets up to the pearly gates, and there's Peter. He recognizes Peter. And Peter says, listen, I'm going to tell you how you get in through these pearly gates. That man said, okay, sure. So he said, it's a system of points. You tell me what you've done. You have to reach 100 points to get into heaven. So guy, okay. So tell me. So the man says, well, I was married for 52 years. I was faithful to my wife. Peter writes down 2 points. Guy, kind of, okay. Well, I was involved in a prison ministry for 25 years, and we were able to lead several of the inmates to the Lord. And we followed up with them, trying to encourage them. Peter writes down 2 more points. He said, I went to church every Sunday, and Bible study, and prayer meeting, and I went just as often as I could, unless I was sick. Peter said, I'll give you 1 point. The man throws up his hands and says, this is impossible to get into heaven. Heaven wouldn't get into here if it weren't for the grace of God. And Peter says, bingo, 100 points. That's how we get into heaven. By the grace of God. That's how we're made tough. Not a self-made person, but a God-built person. There's a poem, very short, 3 lines. We are not here to play, to dream, to drift. We have hard work to do and loads to lift. It's not too difficult being enabled by God's gift. Nothing's too hard. 2 Chronicles 16:9, for the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth to show himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect toward him. God's looking. The Bible tells us He's looking to show Himself strong to those Christians who are crying out to Him in the midst of the storms of life. When God builds something, He builds it to be fortified, strengthened, so that church or that man can stand and withstand the enemies. It's not a slogan, but a sacred truth. Thomas Fuller said this, the man that will not sail till all dangers are over will never put to sea. G.K. Chesterton said, courage is almost a contradiction in terms. It means a strong desire to live, taking the form of a readiness to die. Then finally, 2 quotes by Puritans. I don't believe everything the Puritans believed in, of course, but I like the way they say things at times. First one by William Gurnall. I think it was 1500s and 1600s he lived. Let this encourage those of you who belong to Christ. The storm may be tempestuous, but it is only temporary. The clouds that are temporarily rolling over your head will pass, and then you will have fair weather, an eternal sunshine of glory. Can you not watch with Christ for 1 hour? And finally, Brother Puritan Anastasius White said this, God Himself will always be present among those who are tending to His work. Let me read that again. God Himself will always be present among those who are tending to His work. This morning, let's be reminded to attend to the church, to the needs, the goals, the desires that Christ had for His church. Let's attend to His work, His word, His worship, His will. By being a man, a woman, a teenager of God-built toughness. It's a sacred truth that's been entrusted to us. Let's pray. This morning with your heads bowed and eyes closed, God built. I'm sure I could extend this sermon into other areas, but these are 2 that impacted us as we're encroaching now upon a new year. Only way to be God-built is to have a spiritual birth from above. In John 1, verse 10, John writes, speaking of Christ, He was in the world, and the world was made by Him, and the world knew Him not. He came into His own, and His own received Him not. But as many as received Him, to them gave He power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on His name, which were born not of blood, nor the will of the flesh, nor the will of man, but of God. You've got to be born of God. It's not a point system to get into heaven. Okay? It's not by works. Not by keeping a law, the Old Testament law, New Testament law. Not a bunch of do's and don'ts. It's by grace and grace alone. It's a gift. This morning you can receive God's gift by humbling yourself. Coming to the Lord poor and needy. Coming with empty hands. I have nothing to offer. I have great sorrow in my heart, Lord. I repent. I turn from what I thought would save me. I thought maybe there would be a point system. But I turn to You, Lord. I turn from my sin that I was serving, and I turn to the Lord Jesus Christ to serve Him. I turn from idols to the living God. Give Him my life and to serve Him with the rest of my life. You come forward this morning, we'll help you to know the Lord as your Savior. If you're a Christian, know this, no matter what state you are now, God built you. He enabled you and enables you to do everything He needs you to do. I'm not going to call on something you can't do because of your personality, your makeup, your experience, whatever it might be. God is never going to ask you to do something He doesn't believe you can do. Be a part, play a part in God's church. Don't be slothful. Don't be lazy. God's trying to build His church. Why God chose to use man, this Christian man, I don't know. But He chooses to do that way. I think it's to give us a privilege serving Him. You can be a man or woman or teenager like Benaiah, and you can serve when overwhelmed and underarmed and outnumbered because it's a sacred truth, not just a catchy phrase. Be strong in the Lord. Take on the enemies. Don't back down. Stand up. Let God prove Himself. He can take on. He can give you the courage, the strength, the endurance to abide under things in this life. He's experienced, but He's also perfect. He knows perfectly what we need. We don't need to be anxious. We don't need to be fret, worried. We don't need to be intimidated. We need to be tough. And we can be. We can be overcomers and victorious because of Jesus Christ. As that hymn was played, be strong in the Lord. Maybe you want to come and talk to the Lord. Maybe there's something you've been kind of walking a line on. You just don't know what to do, and it's been intimidating you. There's been too much caution. You want to step out on something. Maybe you want to come to the altar and give that to the Lord and say, God, help me with this or that. Maybe it's children. Maybe it's a spouse. Maybe it's finances. Maybe it's health. Maybe it's just life. But in these moments before we conclude the sermon, may you come, and in this moment, come to your Lord and Savior. Pour out your heart to Him. Whatever you need, as Natalie plays, be strong in the Lord. You come.
Just right there from your seat. Others are praying out front. Just from your seat, talk to your Lord. Say, Lord, I've been intimidated by this thing. I've struggled with this thing. I want to be like Benaiah. I want to take on this thing in my life that trying to take me down. I'm battling on a snowy day. I'm battling a lion. I'm battling lion-like men. I'm battling things bigger than me who confront me. God, I've minimized you and I've maximized them. Today, Lord, I recommit myself to you. I'm going to start pulling on those things, Lord, that you've equipped me with. Father, thank you for the time this morning and your precious word. For preserving just a few of the mighty acts of this man of God. Lord, we've been reminded that the church is God-built tough. And men can be that way, and women, and young people. We're able to do that, Lord, if we turn to you and rely upon you. Sometimes the world seems so big, and our problems seem so big. And they love to intimidate us. They love for us to cower, be cowards. And Lord, you need us to do your will, to work for you, and especially in these days of pestilence. Help us not to look back from these days and wish we had given them more. Wish we had done more for Jesus. And we were foolish in not doing what we knew we should be doing. That was to be strong and of good courage. You bless the things we heard this morning. Bless those that are not saved, Lord, that were listening in, and help them, Lord, to see how much you love them and care about them. How much you want to save them. And for them to learn all that accompanies salvation. And we'll thank you for this in Christ's name. Amen.